So this month, because we are in the season of light, and it's called the season of light because December, every day gets shorter and shorter and shorter until we have the shortest day of the year, and then there's that, whoa, now we start to get lighter and lighter. Now, for us in this century, that's not a big deal. But I want you to imagine 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago when this was happening. Could have been kind of frightening, when it's like, what is happening to our flat world? What the heck, right? So this month we are going to look at four other major religions other than the science of mind, and how they practice or how they recognize this season of light. And we are going to start off with Rohatsu. And Rohatsu is Buddhism, however, it is distinctly Japanese. So it's Japanese Zen Buddhism. Because Buddhism, like Christianity, depending on where it is practiced, can take on all kinds of different ways that they celebrate and even when they celebrate. So if I say something and you have studied Buddhism, like I know some of you have, and you're like, yeah, no, just remember, this is Japanese. I may be wrong, but give me a little berth here. So I like that we are studying Rohatsu because it's about meditation. So if you remember the story of Siddhartha before he became Buddha, he was raised very, very wealthy. And then one day he went out in one of his carriages. He wasn't supposed to. He was a young man. And he went out and he saw all of the poverty around him. And it broke his heart. And it not only broke his heart, it sparked in him that he needed to do something. And he didn't really know what that was, except one of the things it was leaving the castle and going out and being among the people. And he was looking for peace. And he was looking for love, and he couldn't seem to find it anywhere. So what do we teach in Science of Mind? Where do you go? You go within, right? And that's one of the other things that we're going to be talking about. Because remember, in case you have forgotten, because sometimes when I would, in ministerial school, and I'd take a class on Buddhism, and I'd think, oh, wow, that is so much like Science of Mind. Of course it is. It's much older than Science of Mind. And Ernest Holmes was an avid reader. So what you have to understand about our philosophy, what we teach, why it's called New Thought, is because he took every philosophy he read about and said, many paths, one destination. And so he took all of those things that were the same or that really spoke of the love that we all are and created what we teach here, the Science of Mind. That is, and so he read about Buddhism. And we learn about it in ministerial school because we learn about the different religions that he studied so that we can have a basis for teaching what we teach. And so the Buddha finally decided, I don't know what else to do. I'm just going to sit down under this Bodhi tree until I figure out an answer. And the Bodhi tree is a fig tree. And so he sat down. Now I want you to also think about the similarities of other belief systems when I tell this story. So he sits down, and Mara, who is a demon, comes and tempts him. First tempts Buddha with all of his beautiful daughters. Come home, Daddy. Come home. I don't know if they said Daddy, but come home. Why are you doing this? We have a comfortable life. Why do you want to sit here and meditate? And he didn't move. And then the demons came up and, did all kinds of things, trying to pull him out of his meditation, out of that connection to the divine that he knew he was at the very core of his being. Now that he was sitting and he could really listen, everything he was looking for was already within. And so he sat there, and the demons kept tempting him and doing all different things. And Mara finally said, I have all of the answers. And the demons all shouted, "We believe in you." And she looked at Buddha, or he looked at Buddha and said, "And what? What do you believe? Who stands for you?" And Buddha put his hand on the earth. Actually, at the time he did it, he was still Siddhartha. Put his hand on the earth, and the earth screamed back to all the demons, "We believe in you." And that is when he became enlightened. That is when he became the Buddha. Now, the similarities of the life of the prophet Jesus, the similarities to other religions and what they believe, they're all very similar because they all tell a story of finding your truth. And nobody can really find your truth but you. Right? It's what we teach here. I can stand up here and talk, and I can teach classes, and other ministers and practitioners can teach classes. And you can take the classes, you can read the books. If you don't do the practices, I'm not saying it's not going to work, but it's going to take a lot longer than if you do the work. You absolutely, I think, need to do the work. And nobody can do that for you. There is not a guru out there, no matter what they say, no matter what they promise you, that can do the work for you. You have to do the work. You have to sit at the Bodhi tree and find yourself. And sometimes that might be a short journey. Sometimes that might be, I believe, 43 days. Is that how long you sat under the Bodhi tree? Was it? I know she studied Buddhism. That's why I asked Susan. But it was a length of time. And the Rohatsu celebration is the last 7 days. So that starts today. And so what I ask each of you is this week, be mindful of that. That there are Zen Buddhists, especially in Japan, probably around the world, that this entire week spend the next 7 days in meditation. They meditate while they're cleaning, they meditate while they're cooking, they meditate and they don't speak unless it's absolutely necessary. 7 days. I tried a silent retreat once for 3 days. It was hard. I found myself wanting to talk out loud to myself. It's not easy. It's not, especially for, I think, for us. Okay, I'm going to say for me, because I don't know about you guys. I'm not real fond of silence. You know, and I can give you many excuses of why I'm not fond of silence. The truth of the matter is, I'm just not fond of silence. The rest is just an excuse that I've given myself. I give myself a pass. But that's all it is a pass. And so to really be in silence, to sit with that inner God and listen. Because unless we sit and listen, it's called a still small voice for a reason, because it's not going to shout at you. It's not going to scream, for God's sake, just wake up. Now would be a good time. Wake up. It doesn't do that. God doesn't go anywhere. You know, we are living, breathing organisms in the divine. Right here, right now. It is all around us. It is in us. It is everywhere. Now just imagine if we really behaved like that was the truth. We wouldn't suffer from lack, because we'd absolutely know this is an abundant universe. It was created by the divine. This is our playfield. This is how it gets to experience life itself, is through us. That's why we have been given this container. Now imagine if we all just woke up and really, really started to own, wow, I'm not only God in form, so is everybody sitting here. Would it make a difference on how you communicated with people? Would it make a difference on how you spoke about people? Would it make a difference on how you treated and spoke about yourself? I want you to think about that other inner voice. That inner voice that we can call the ego, or we can just call that inner voice that has been with us since birth, that just has kept its memories alive and well in our mind. And for some reason, it doesn't always keep the alive, wonderful memories of when we were pleasant or nice. It seems to want to remind us on a consistent basis where we've screwed up. Right? And it has no problem shouting at us, does it? It wants to be heard. So what is that voice? Could it be Mara? Could it be that demon that just wants you to not recognize the truth of who you are? Could it be something that is preventing you from living your best life ever? Because it's afraid. And truthfully, it is. You know, they say the ego is comfortable in its reality of right now. And any time you try to change its right now, it will do everything in its power to stop you. Not because it probably doesn't know or believe that you could change. It doesn't like to go any place that it doesn't know, that it's not comfortable. So if you say, you know, I work at AT&T. You know, I'm a second level manager. I get paid good money. Oh, now we're going to be a minister? Are you out of your mind? And so I don't know about you, but my ego likes to play with me to get me to do things. It never, you know, or not my ego, excuse me, my inner voice likes to play with me to get me to do things. It never comes at me like a truck and says, okay, we're just going to switch careers here. Because it knows I would have hightailed it out of town as fast as I could. And so a series of events, and I don't know if this has happened in your life, where you look back and think, oh, when I connect the dots, of course that happened that way. And it brought me here. Because when you look at your life, that's exactly what happened. Every dot has a purpose. Every single dot. The joy, the misery, the why did I do that? Every dot has a purpose. And it's easy to look back and go, oh yeah, because you've lived through it and now you can see where that pony is. When you're living through it, not so much. That is why we have practitioners and ministers here to serve. Because when you're in the midst of stuff, even practitioners and ministers get in the midst of stuff. When you are in the midst of stuff, you want to be surrounded by people that love and support you and hold you up. And if you don't believe that's true, then talk to Kim after service. You know, she understands how it is to really need the love and support of her community. And you know what? She called people and she asked for support. Do you know how hard that is for somebody who is of service to go, this time I need service? So bless you for that. That took more courage than most of us have. So thank you. So that is what Rohatsu is about. It's meditating. It's connecting to that divine inner source. Buddha, like Jesus, like all the other great prophets and masters, I'm sorry if this offends anybody, they aren't special. I can look out and see Jesus and Buddha or God or whatever you want to call it in each and every one of you. Because that is the truth of who you are. And I will say that until I bore you to death. Or until you stand up and say, I got it. I finally get it. Thomas Edison, just remember, 9,999 times, or maybe it was 10,000. And they said, oh my God, you failed at creating a light bulb until the 10,000th time. He goes, no, I didn't. I found 9,999 ways a light bulb didn't work. That's what you need to know. You are a work in progress. Every single one of you, a work in progress. And the delight of this community is that we get the support of each other when we fall down, or when we need support, or when we want to celebrate and not have somebody say, what do you think you're doing? When we just want to celebrate a win. That's why we're here. That's why we're community. That's why we're Genesis. It is that foundation of love, that knowing that that inner light is already there. And that you can sit down and you can put your hands on the earth and you can feel the earth say to you, I believe. I believe. And so that's what I would like you to practice this week. Practice meditating, knowing that the Zen Buddhist monks start today. Now, I had to read this 2 or 3 times because they meditate continually for the next 7 days. But somehow, every evening, I guess it's an intentional meditation, they start out tonight and they meditate a little bit longer every night. And then those with stamina, next Saturday night, will meditate all night long until the enlightenment, which is December 8th, which is what Rohatsu means. It is the 8th day of the 12th month. And since they went to the Gregorian calendar, it is now always December 8th. So let us pray. Mother, Father, God, Spirit that is within me, within you. I call forth that power, that presence, that one right here and right now, knowing that is everywhere. It is all things everywhere. It finds its existence at the very center of each of our being. And yet as it lives within, so it lives without and around us. We see out through the eyes of God, and we see God looking back at us. It is that abundance knowing that is all present, ever present. It is right here, right now, in this place. And so knowing this, what I know for each person here is they find that presence within them, that they take the time to connect to that divine light that is the truth of who they are and knows only their greatness, only their love, only their compassion. It is that place where the earth says, I believe in you. And so we allow that presence to whisper to us now and forever, I believe in you. And we feel that as our heart beats. We feel that as we take a breath. We know that is the truth because we feel it as we get those God bumps on our skin. As the universe says back to us, yes, of course, my beloved, of course. And so I know this is my truth. I know this is the truth of all people everywhere. That we are connected through that one mind, that one heart, that one life that is always present and always will be present for us always, now and forevermore. And so I just say thank you for that connection, for that knowing, for that breath, for that next beat of my heart that happens without interference, without my thought, with that grand knowingness, if this is how I work. So I place all of these words lovingly into the law, knowing as I release them into that magnificence, into that field of infinite possibility, all God does is smile back and say yes. Maybe sometimes it says, what took you so long? Mostly it just says yes, because that's what it does. So say yes to yourself this week, as God has said yes to you. Together, we let go, we let God, and say, and so it is.